Hello there, I am Prishil Sharma and I have with myself a deck of DILOG cards. DILOG stands for Diversity in Living Organisms. I have prepared this game to inspire the youth to stand up against the threats that are imposed to these endangered animals. So let's start playing. This deck of DILOG cards includes 40 cards which are all chordates, and that means they have backbones. So let's look at one for an example. This is the card of the Great Indian Bustard. We can see its attack level, defense level, rarity and speed, and also its details, which include its class, order, family and binomial name. So these are scientific details. Other than that, these four characteristics are important for playing the game. So to play the game, the first thing to do is to have players. The minimum number of players required is 2, but I'll get to that later, that if there's only one person, he or she can spend time with the cards and learn a lot about their details, their biology, etc. Now this game requires a minimum of 2 players, so the only one I could find was Mr. Bustard. So Mr. Bustard has been given 4 cards by me, and I have given myself 4 cards, so we have evenly distributed the cards, and some are just left there. For a short game, I've only distributed 4 cards. Now, if Mr. Bustard could play, he would play first, but as I'm the only one who could play, I'll play the first chance. So this is the first card that I am playing. It's Nilgiri Langur, and I'll see which is the strongest part it can play. Speed, as I can see, is a good factor to Nilgiri Langur. So I'll call speed and throw the card in front of Mr. Bustard. Now Mr. Bustard has seen this card, and he looks at the card and says, "Oh, I must find a card that has a higher speed or I lose both the cards." So Mr. Bustard one by one looks at his cards, and he is searching for someone who has a higher speed, and he finds one. Well, he keeps it aside. Maybe there's someone who has a lesser speed than that. And wow, it was a good decision, because Mr. Bustard has the exact card of white-winged duck that has a speed of more than 1 of the speed of the Nilgiri Langur. It has a speed of 17. Now Mr. Bustard feels confident, and he plays the white-winged duck and calls for the speed of 17. Now I, Krishal, I feel very bad, because I've lost my Nilgiri Langur, and these 2 cards are now safely in the hands of Mr. Bustard. However, they are not playable. The number of cards with each player remain the same after each turn. So Mr. Bustard has 3 cards and I also have 3 cards. Now, since I played the last turn, Mr. Bustard has to play this turn. Playing the turn means the one who starts the turn, the one who throws the turn at the first time. Now it's the turn of Mr. Bustard. He looks at his card and he decides to play the Asian Elephant. The Asian Elephant has an attack of 19. Now, the thing with this card is that the defense is highest. Now I am telling you a good tactic, that the highest one of your card should be played. That will have more probability of winning. Well, you can try on your own. You can hit and try which strategy fits you the best. So this Asian Elephant has an attack of 19. So Mr. Bustard plays the attack of 19. But he also saw that the defense was 20. Now this is the rule of the game. The first move cannot beat defense, because if someone plays the defense at first, it will be like the Asian Elephant going to some other animal. So let's see which animal I'll bring back to defense the attack of Asian Elephant. If it's Nilgai, I'll lose. I don't want that card. If it's Water Buffalo, I'll lose again. If I have Striped Hyena, then also I'll lose. So I have no hope or scope of winning. So I'll decide a card which is the worst of all of the 3. I'm just playing the best strategy I could play. now you can decide your own strategy. You could lose or win on your own. So I played Nilgai, and Mr. Bustard sees that the attack of 19 is greater than the defense of 11, so he has won the turn, and both the cards will safely go in Mr. Bustard's non-playable deck. So what I was telling a bit before was that your first move cannot be defense. Mr. Bustard wanted to play a defense of 20, but he could not, because these are the rules of the game. If he plays a defense of 20, it will be like an Asian elephant is going to the Nilgai and is saying that please attack me, I have this much defense, and you will get defeated. Now that doesn't make sense. You cannot go to someone and ask for them to attack you. Well, maybe you could, but not at least in this game. So the first move cannot be defense. It can be attack, rarity, or speed. So I've covered the first moves of attack, and to counter attack, the move that it's the only move you can play is of defense. So for right now, both the cards go in Mr. Bustard's non-playable deck, and let's give you an example of the factor of rarity of a card. So last turn was first played by Mr. Bustard. Now it's my turn, so I'll play one card from my deck. Now this seems like a good card to play for rarity, because it has a rarity of 14. The maximum rarity possible is 25, you can see. So I play this card, I shout rarity, and I throw this card in the face of Mr. Bustard. Well, not in the face, in front of him. Now Mr. Bustard has seen the card, and I have called for the rarity of 14. Now Mr. Bustard will see his deck of cards. Well, he has only 2 cards left, so he has to choose one of them with a rarity that is higher than the rarity of the wild water buffalo that I have played. Well, so Mr. Bustard picks up his first card and looks at it, and it has a rarity higher than that of the wild water buffalo. He picks up another card, and he sees that its rarity is also higher than the rarity of the wild water buffalo. Now he has to choose which card to play, which would be the worst card in this scenario. Well, he looks at both of them and decides that this will be a worse card to play for him, for his benefit. It would be the best card to play in this scenario. So he plays the Sun Guy or San Guy, I don't know how it's pronounced. Well, I'll tell you the facts of these beautiful animals, these endangered animals, later. So Mr. Bustard wins again, and these 2 cards go in his non-playable deck. Now the last turn was played by me, so this turn would be played by Mr. Bustard and by his last card, the Pygmy Hog. So this is the last card left by Mr. Bustard. He looks at it and shouts speed of 21 and throws this card in front of my face. Now I have only 1 card left. I have no other choice but to play it, and it has a speed of 17, and I lose both of these cards to Mr. Bustard's non-playable deck. So he has no cards left, I have no cards left, and after a short period of time, this game has ended. Now if I had won any turn, I would have got some in my non-playable deck, but that doesn't seem to exist, because I have lost all the turns to Mr. Bustard, and he has won all the 8 cards, so he wins from 8 to 0. Well played, Mr. Bustard. Well, it's only luck you can play with, or the strategy you play with. Both contribute to the game. Now with the fun facts of the game, you can see that the more common cards, these are all the cards in this deck, the more common cards are green colored, the rarer one are yellow colored, or I call them golden cards, and some cards are red colored while some cards are pink colored. So right now it has only 4 colors. A green card is the base color of the game. If there is an animal which satisfies the conditions of the addition of this game, then it will be colored green, just a normal card. Now, if it's colored yellow or golden, as I say, if it's a golden card, then it is a very rare animal that's endangered, and it is only found in our country, in our India. So that's the golden card. Another card is the red card. The red card was one time found in India. The red card is now extinct in India. For example, the Javan rhinoceros. The Javan rhinoceros once covered the northeastern parts of India. Well, that also included another red card that I must show you is the Sumatran rhinoceros. So both of these red cards, both these rhinoceros, they once existed in the foothills of Himalayas in India, but now they are no longer found because of human intervention throughout the globe, not only in India. Because of all these things, because of their hunting and poaching, they are extremely rare because there are only 50 to 70 left. This one is left in Indonesia and Java, as the name suggests, and this one is left in Sumatra. Only 50 or 74, like that is the range of these animals that are left in the world, only in 1 or 2 sanctuaries. These are the red cards. Now for a tip, in this deck of cards, this is also a red card, the Asiatic cheetah. It also existed through the plains of India in the Deccan Plateau and near the Himalayas. The Asiatic cheetah was really famous, and it was very famous, so it got hunted. It got hunted down. The last Asiatic cheetah was hunted in 1948 by some Maharaja of Rajasthan. Since then, there is no Asiatic cheetah in India. Well, I have done some research, you can see, to create these cards. Another color is the pink color. Oh, about the Asiatic cheetah. It's the strongest card, if I have not mentioned it earlier. It's the strongest card in the game because it's the fastest. It's not the rarest, but it's very rare. The attack is good and the defense is adequate, so it's a great card, the best card in this game, in my eyes, because I created the game. I know much about them. This is the pink-headed duck. Oh, another thing about the Asiatic cheetah. I'll keep doing this until everything is covered. So, Asiatic cheetah, when it was last hunted down in 1948, it's only left in Iran, in central Iran. There's a wildlife sanctuary with only 50 of these Asiatic cheetah remaining. 50 mature adults of Asiatic cheetah in the world. So the next one is the pink-headed duck. In the honor of the pink-headed duck, these type of cards are painted pink. They are pink cards. So the pink-headed duck, it was also once found in India, in Malaysia, in Nepal, all these countries in the eastern side of the Indian subcontinent, and especially in Myanmar. However, now this duck is only suspected to be found in Myanmar, because from the last almost 100 years it has not been seen in the wild. It's considered probably extinct. Probably extinct means the pink card. And the pink card that we have is the Himalayan quail. Fun fact about the Himalayan quail, that it was only found in Uttarakhand, and it was only reported twice in the official journals of biology. So the Himalayan quail has been only found in Uttarakhand, and it has also been extinct, considered by some people extinct from the last 50 years, because it has not been seen. It just disappeared. We don't know if it's extinct. Well, the cards of these exist. They are still not considered fully extinct. They are considered probably extinct, because the IUCN, or the International Union for Conservation of Nature, has considered them as critically endangered, not yet extinct. So they deserve a card of their own, so they have a category of the pink cards. But there are a lot of benefits if you just play with these cards by yourself. If you observe these cards, for example, the Javan rhinoceros has the order of Perissodactyla and a family of Rhinocerotidae. So you can see that all the rhinoceros that we have, one that is also the pride of India because it's only found in India, and that is the one-horned rhinoceros. Let me find it. Here it is. So this is the one-horned rhinoceros. It's also the pride of India. It's not very rare, so that's not golden. Well, it's still only found in India. Many of these animals are only found in India just because they were not so rare. They were not painted golden, or gold would lose its value in terms of these cards. So we can see that all of these rhinoceros have the same order and also the same family. Now, coming to that, we can see that there is some relation between these animals. They're all rhinoceros, and they have similar, classification, the biological classification. I have kept these cards in a certain order. It will help the person who is doing it so to learn about how one animal relates to another biologically, even though they may not look so, but they are. For example, this, just a second, if you can see, so this is the gangetic dolphin, and it has the order of artiodactyl, and it's a mammal. So it lives in water, still it's a mammal, and it has an order of artiodactyla, and it relates to all its neighbors. So this gangetic dolphin is related to all these animals, including the nilgai, these dairy animals, till all the types of antelopes and stags. They're all related to the dolphin. Well, it doesn't seem so at first. Now we know. So these are all the mammals. They are in one place. These are all the mammals. And this is the third class of amphibia, which houses all the amphibians. Well, in this deck we only have one amphibian, and it's the purple frog. Now the story about the purple frog, there are only 150 of these left, or seen at least in the wild, since history. Only 150 have been seen, and they're all in some lonely part of the Western Ghats. So there's a lot to learn about all these animals. Now I've had many ideas regarding these cards. One of them was to place a QR code somewhere on the card, so that if someone scans the QR code, it will be taken to the video of that animal specifically, that will be uploaded on this channel itself of DILOG in the future, if the idea works. So on that video, the person will know about the various threats that are posed on that specific animal, its location, its story, why it's endangered, and why are people hunting for it, all these things, right? So it will help the youth to stand up against the threats to these animals. The youth will have a better understanding of what these animals are, why should we conserve them, how they are important for the conservation of the balance of nature. So this is the main objective. I think that something will happen with these cards. Bye bye.